As I understand, the question is that the bill as a whole be agreed to. Ms Lauder.
I seek leave to move amendments 1 to 4 circulated in my name together.
Is leave granted? Thank you, Ms Lauder.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move amendments 1 to 4 circulated in my name together.
The question is that Ms Lauder's amendments 1 through to 4 be agreed to. Ms Lauder.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Circulated these amendments today to address the lack of consultation with the community from the government. They're reasonably simple and have a lot of support from community organisations who I believe have some knowledge and expertise in this area and have expressed their concerns. Our amendment to the Heritage Act leaves the current legislation intact and provides the heritage assessment does not have to be undertaken if the place or object is protected under another territory law or if the application is incomplete. This is in response to concerns raised with us, and I reiterate, Madam Speaker, our dismay at the length of time it's taken to get information. If the Minister genuinely wants support for these amendments, a better consultation process would be appreciated. I repeat that we had 10 emails and 5 phone calls before a briefing was provided 6 weeks after we first requested it, on the Monday before the last sitting period when it was expected to be debated in the last sitting period. When it wasn't debated last sitting period, we saw another briefing and were told to send out our questions by email, which we did. And it got the answers to those questions back just after 5 o'clock last night, which makes it very difficult for us to analyse the response and provide support if that's what the Minister actually genuinely wishes. With regard to the Public Place Names Act, Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank Mr Milligan for the information that he provided and point out that during the changes this week to the Elected Body Act, we heard the concerns of the United Ngunnawal Elders Council, who expressed the opinion that an appropriate cultural group might mean an inappropriate individual. And they had the Elected Body Act further amended to require the elected body in their consultations to provide an explanatory statement of why they chose that appropriate cultural group. We've also heard this week, Madam Speaker, that members of the Indigenous community have been deeply offended by the words and actions of the Chief Minister and the Health Minister, and part of the reason for that offence is that there was a perception that the whole consultation process around the elected body, around Ngunnawal Bush Healing Farm, around Boomanulla Oval was all just for show. And the Indigenous community have indicated to us that they're tired of words and hollow consultations without real action. So in this particular instance, the proposed amendments in Mr Gentleman's PABLAB water down even further the requirements for consultation, let alone meaningful action as a result of that consultation. So, Madam Speaker, we believe the changes to the Public Place Names Act is just another example of the government watering down their requirements to consult with our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community. So our amendments that we've brought through today are about responsiveness to the needs and the wishes of the community when it comes to changing legislation that affects them. We believe the best policy is reached when consultation is broad and thorough. That's the best way to avoid unintended consequences of changes to legislation. These amendments are in response to community councils and National Trust and other organisations, and I commend the amendments to the Assembly.